Oh. What's up, Lions Nation? Surprise, here we are. Yeah, baby. Lions beat the Rams by 1 point. Statman, 32 years in the making. The Lions win a playoff game and move on to the divisional round. Man, how exciting was that?
Oh, it was so exciting. The emotions were running through me. I started tearing up. I didn't think I was going to do that, but I'm 36 years old. I've been a Lions fan since I was 6 years old. And it's been 32 years since they've won a playoff game. So literally, I've never seen them win a playoff game up until now.
Well, I am 38. So, like, barely. They won a playoff game when I was barely able to know what's going on with anything. My girl, Haley, she has never seen the Lions win a playoff game. So, yeah.
Your girl, huh?
Yeah. It's not official. Jason says, "What's up, guys? Let's go Lions." What's up, Jason? And Statman's mom's in the house. Says, "Hi, everyone. Congratulations, guys."
Yeah, huge victory over our former quarterback, Matt Stafford. I respect the guy. I love the guy for everything he did for us as an organization. When he played for us, he played his heart out for us as a Detroit Lion. But what a sweet, sweet victory that was to beat him. I'm sorry, but it was.
Yeah, and you could see it in his face. You know, it wasn't like super. His look on his face was more like a, yeah, they beat me, type of look at the end of that game. Like, we didn't do, and his press conference, Stafford even said, like, we just didn't do what we needed to do in the end to get it done. And if we're going to look at the stats and all that for you guys, but if you look at the way that game went, the Rams had a few huge pass plays, but if those pass plays didn't happen, I think we would have had, a 3-touchdown lead at one point. So those are the things that, and it was the guys that we said in the pregame show, Vildor and Sutton, not covering. Those are the only reason. You can't let. Let's look at the numbers here. But we got 5 comments that we got to catch up on, so let's do that. Candace says hello. What's up, Candace? Dane says, "Hey, what's up, Dane?"
Hey.
Steven says hello.
What's up, Pops?
Uncle Bud is in the house. What's up, Uncle Bud?
What's up, Uncle Bud?
Facebook user says, "Go Lions." That might be Dar. I noticed when he's commenting, it says Facebook user now. So I don't know if it's him or not. But Facebook user says, "I like the playoff picture going forward. Thank you, Packers, for the home game. Do it again for us." Yeah. And that's exciting, too, to see another home game. The locker room celebration was awesome. There was 2 game balls. One of them went to the GM, Brad Holmes, which was really cool. If you watch that, I don't know if anybody's seen that or not. I think I shared it, but
him screaming in the elevator.
No, just in the locker room when he threw the ball to Brad Holmes, it was a pretty epic moment. The speech that Dan Campbell gave before he gave Brad Holmes a game ball was pretty awesome. And then Jared Goff got the other game ball, and Dan Campbell said something like, "We want you here," or something like that, and that's all he said, and just threw Jared Goff the game ball. What he said was pretty sweet. It was kind of like a "you belong here with us," or "we want you." That's what we wanted you, is what he said. They didn't, so it was kind of one of those deals. So it was pretty sweet.
Well, I also seen a video of the whole team cheering, "Jared Goff, Jared Goff."
He was the last one in. Everybody was in the locker room, and then Goff came in, and it was a pretty epic moment. And the crowd cheering for Goff too at the beginning of the game. That was pretty sweet. Oh, Steve's in the house, says go Lions. What's up, Steve?
Yeah, go Lions, one pride.
Jason says, I love how the NFL cheated to get the storyline they wanted, and it blew up in their face. Sorry, Cowboys. St. Brown won me $855 in that last pass in a parlay. How about that? St. Brown sealed the game. The crowd helped us out a ton. Yeah, that crowd was exceptionally loud. It was awesome to hear, and we get to hear it all over again. We will find out later on tonight. We know the Lions will play in that divisional round. Kickoff will be at 3 o'clock. We don't know who they're going to play until later on tonight. Dar says, can you imagine if we host an NFC Championship game? That crowd was nuts. Yeah. And it could, if we get there, when we get there, it will be possibly even the Packers. How about that for an NFC Championship game?
I mean, they have Green Bay and Buffalo are the two hottest teams coming into the playoffs. Before the playoffs started, those are the two hottest teams. And I'm not going to jinx anything right now, but Green Bay could take San Francisco. Just saying. Jordan Love is playing pretty damn good.
Yeah, and San Francisco is not playing that well. And they've had a bye, so sometimes you come off that bye, it hurts you a little bit. I know it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Let's take a look at the player stats. Jared Goff was 22 for 27, 217 yards, 1 touchdown. Rushing, we had 14. Montgomery had 14 carries, 57 yards, 1 touchdown. Gibbs had 8 carries for 25 yards and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 receptions, 110 yards. Reynolds, 5 for 80. And Laporta had 3 receptions, 14 yards, 1 touchdown. How about Jared Goff first off? Talk about poise.
5 incomplete passes.
He played, except for that one play where he kind of just threw the ball. Besides that, Jared Goff played really well.
And another thing I like to see was Reynolds. People forget that's his former team too, the Rams. Jared Goff and Reynolds played pretty well together in Los Angeles, and both of them played for Detroit. So it was bittersweet to watch Josh Reynolds go off like he did in that game.
Right at the start, too. It was almost like they planned it out. Like, here you go. First half, pretty good. Second half, a little lackluster, but
yeah, we need to clean up the second half, especially offensively. We can't go out in the second half of a game going forward in the playoffs and expect to win with only scoring 3 points in the second half.
No, if we talk about rushing, Montgomery looked pretty good. Gibbs looked good when he was in, but I feel like we didn't see much of him hardly at all, especially in the second half. I kind of thought, is he sitting out because he's hurt? Like, what happened? I don't know what happened. He's usually, and sometimes he just takes over for Montgomery, but maybe Montgomery they thought was doing a little better. I'm not sure, but it was interesting to notice that Gibbs wasn't in as much with only 8 carries.
I feel like they should swap quarters or something. I think Montgomery plays better at the end of the game, especially in the fourth quarter. He was running the ball hard and with purpose in that fourth quarter. And I think overall Montgomery needs to get more touches. I mean, if you look at the carries, Montgomery only had 14 carries. Gibbs only had 8 carries. They need to get more touches. That's the only way these running backs are going to get into a groove.
You need to keep running the ball. The Lions still won the game, but they could have been running it a lot more. I just have to say it. Jahmyr Gibbs is so explosive. Like when he caught that pass, on the outside and like barely caught it. And then he's so elusive. It's mind blowing to me how good he is. I just kept telling my oldest was watching the game with me for the first time this year. And it was funny. I'm going to tell this real quick. I came out of the kitchen and he was sitting on the couch and he had like my old Javid Best Lions jersey on.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know he was coming to watch the game. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, just watching the game, Dad. So I got to watch it with my kiddo. That was fun. But I thought it was funny. He pulled out my old Javid Best jersey from somewhere. Put that on. Steve says, I like that we won the game in the first half, but we need to finish well on both sides. Defense was spectacular aside from the two big plays that ended up being scores. Yeah, agree.
Yeah, completely agree.
We could have played a lot harder in that second half, and it might even have been a whole different ending to that. Like the score would have been higher if we would have kept the gas going. But for some reason, we slowed down that gas pedal, and that led to a very close game, and I think it could have been a lot farther apart. Dane says, I wish they would run more. Vintage said, is there an actual rule about coaches standing on the field during play? I thought they could only stand in the white. There was many times the Rams coaching staff was on the field just asking for clarification. Yeah, I don't think that they're supposed to be on the field at all.
No, I'm pretty sure after so many warnings by the refs, there can be a penalty for that.
But Sean McVay is known for that, being out on the field. He has to have somebody grab him all the time, pull him backwards.
There's quite a few coaches, actually, that get pulled back. Pete Carroll was another one that always got pulled back off the field.
On the defensive side, let's talk about, I forgot receivers. Amon-Ra, besides Josh Reynolds having a big beginning of the game, Amon-Ra St. Brown came up big as well, but he came up clutch when we needed him to be clutch. He was there. Right at the end, Goff to St. Brown to seal the deal. Like that couldn't have went out any better that way. I'm glad it was perfect.
And I want to touch on one more thing too. What didn't make sense to me, the Rams coach or the Rams as a team decided to not go for it on that 4th and 13 at about the 50. And there was 3 minutes left and they only had one timeout.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that at all. You know, if that's the opposite way, MCDC, he's going for that.
No doubt. Dar says it's hard to go away from the past when Goff starts the games 12 for 12. It is. I understand that completely. And it's good to know that we have a running game that we can go to. But it's also, I think it's a good thing to get it started early. But I don't know. It's tough to say because we started out so explosive with the passing game that he just kept on with it. It was Goff's night. It was definitely Goff's night to shine, and he did. McVay had a hired assistant to keep him off the field. Yeah, he does. He has somebody that grabs him by the shirt and pulls him backwards.
I'd like to be that guy, just to get paid to pull him back off the field. Hey, it's your turn.
Dar says, I'm sure there were fans yelling for a field goal on that Laporta touchdown. He kicks a field goal, we lose the game. Jason says, running the ball opened everything else up, which it always does, Jason. You're 100% correct. It always opens it up, but they came out so well throwing the ball. I think that's kind of where – but we were running the ball well, too. It's not like when Montgomery got the ball, he was getting stopped. He was gaining probably 5 yards pretty much every carry, it seemed like. So I don't know what happened in the second half, to be honest with you. I really don't. We were doing so well. I don't know why they changed it up or what happened, but the defensive side of the ball, tackles, Anzalone had 6, Hutchinson 4, Gardner Johnson had 4, Branch had 3, and Aiden Hutchinson 2 sacks, and Reese Maben had a forced fumble. No interceptions by our defense. Of course, we already kind of mentioned it, but Sutton still a little lackluster. He needs to step that up. He's supposed to be one of our top corners, and he has not been playing well. And Vildor, he needs some work too.
Well, we knew it was going to be a tough matchup for our DBs with these receivers. Nakua just showed you in that game how good he is. He's strong. He breaks tackles. He's got strong hands. I mean, the guy is an elusive route runner as well. You got to give it to those Rams receivers. They're top notch.
They're good. And it's crazy to me. You got one guy making all these plays, really. It was one guy. And it's scary if you think about Sutton and Vildor going into the divisional round. Like, those guys have to be able to cover. Or it's going to be like this every time. We have to do something. Something's got to change there. Congratulations to Hutchinson. He was 1 sack away from my predicted sack amount, even though one was he just kind of touched the guy. But I don't. And I have to bring this up too. How about Matthew Stafford going off the field? Looked like he was half dead when he got hit. His eyes rolled back in his head. He went in a tent and magically came out like nothing happened. I thought he was hurt.
He had to have slipped the doctor some money.
Something happened in that tent.
Like, hey, buddy, you want some signed memorabilia?
Yeah, he came out just fine. He's like, look at me.
Give me your address. Well, same with Nakua, too. He got hit really hard, too, and was off the field for a little bit and came back in like nothing was wrong with him.
I was like, what the hell? What do they got in their tent? They got something going on in there.
They're having them smell something back there.
Take a whiff. Get back out there. Steelers are done, says Facebook user. Dane says, I'm surprised that the score was as low as it was on both sides. I was predicting a high score offensive shootout. I mean, it kind of was a shootout until the second half, and then both teams slowed down. I don't know. Mont is great between the tackles. Gibbs is explosive and works towards the sidelines, said Steve. 31-17, Bills win. So Bills advance.
Now, who do they play? Now, the AFC is already done now, right?
Yeah, it should be done.
So who is the lower seed, Chiefs or the Bills?
That one I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look. Dar says, Bucks or Eagles, who you want? I'm going to be honest here. If I go based off of what Dan Campbell said earlier in his press conference today, they have Bucks film and all that from this year. The Eagles, it'll take a little bit more preparation. But honestly, I kind of want us to beat the Eagles. I don't know. I'd like to see that win. I'd like to see us beat them.
Yeah, I'd like us to take down Swift. Might as well take down all the former teammates.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. Chiefs are the 3 seed, said Steve. I think the Bill.
Is it Bills or Texans then they're lower?
Oh, Texans got to be the lowest seed, I think. Aren't they? I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Somebody find out for us. Who's playing where?
All the home teams won on the AFC side. So one of them's a 2 seed. One of them's a 3 seed. And one of them's got to be the 4 seed.
Dan did say he's not ready to cash in receipts just yet. Texans are 4 seed. They play the Bills. According to Steve. And that
so the Bills were the higher seed. So that means Texans go on the road to play the Ravens.
Yeah. And we'll know, I think we'll be, obviously, it's going to be Green Bay against San Francisco. We know that. And then we play the winner of tonight's game, Philadelphia or the Bucks. I honestly think if we play the Bucks, I feel like we have a better chance of sacking Baker Mayfield than we.
I mean, we wrecked him the first time around.
He said, I corrected you all are just slow.
So the Chiefs will play the Bills will play the Ravens? I'm
Well, I
confused.
just showed it. It just showed it, damn it. On the TV, I missed it.
Rewind it.
Can't. My remote's way over there.
Let me check it real quick.
We got to find out this. This is a mystery. We have to find it out. Steve said Chiefs play the Bills, and I think that's what I just seen on the TV.
Yep, and Texans play the Ravens.
Jason says, yes, we don't want to play no running QB. Every running QB have killed us. The only thing with the Eagles is that Jalen Hurts hasn't been playing as good, and A.J. Brown, I think, is hurt. So that's a big positive for us as far as playing them, if we end up playing them. Ravens play the Texans. I honestly think that the Texans are going to beat the Ravens.
I'm calling that my upset too. Them and Green Bay beating the Niners.
The Ravens did not look very well their last game at all. They got beat up pretty good. We got to look at the game stats here. First down, the Lions had 23. The Rams had 22. Third down conversions, the Lions were 3 for 9. The Rams were 3 for 9. Lions on fourth down were 1 for 1. The Rams were 1 for 1. Total net yards, Lions 334, Rams 425. Rushing, the Lions had 79 yards. The Rams had 68 yards. Passing, the Lions had 255. The Rams 357. Penalties, the Lions were 5 for 34. The Rams were 4 for 36. No turnovers for either team. Red zone efficiency, Lions were 3 for 3. The Rams were 0 for 3. Time of possession, Lions 29-55. Rams 30-05. I'm going to bounce it to you, Statman, but I think the key for me that stands out here the most is probably the most obvious is the red zone efficiency. Lions were 3 for 3, and then they held the Rams to 0.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest difference maker. You turn all 3 of those field goals into touchdowns. That's, an extra, 12 points on the board? So those 12 points, that would have won them the game.
You do that. You hold the Rams to 0-3 in the red zone, and then you take away those big pass plays the Rams had. It's a whole, take those 2 big plays away. It's a whole different game. We have to stop that from happening. The Lions can't allow those kind of big plays to happen. We got lucky that it didn't kick us in the butt. But the defense stepped up. We're in the red zone where they needed to and got the job done.
Yeah.
Who said it during the game when the Rams were in the red zone? One of the announcers had said something about the Rams or the Lions linebackers play really well in the red zone because everything's so packaged in. Wasn't that in our game that somebody said that? Am I thinking different?
It's always harder to score, especially through the air in the red zone because it's such a smaller space with the same number of guys. When you have more field to go, you have a lot more area of the field to work with your receivers to find somebody open.
Dar says, hopefully we have Houston back at some point in the playoffs. I thought he was going to be back for this game, but he did not make it back yet.
Well, if we move on past this week, I think he might be back for the NFC Championship.
He might be back this week. I think he was ready to go for this past game, but they just I think they're taking their time with it. But I think he could have possibly played. I don't think he's still hurt to where he can't play. I think they're kind of just delaying it, holding off. Lions Talk by Chat Sports says, let's go. What's up? Welcome in. Yes, let's go.
We're ecstatic about this win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to the next win.
Yep. And the next one. You think you teared up yesterday's game? Imagine if we go to the NFC Championship and we win that one.
And we're going to the Super Bowl.
Whew. Crazy to think about. I don't want to overthink it, one game at a time, but it felt good to win that one last night, though. That was for sure.
Well, 2 years ago when we were doing the show, when Dan Campbell first came in, I told you, what did I say about Dan Campbell?
You said that he was a horrible coach and you didn't understand why the Lions organization.
No, I didn't. I said he's the guy to turn this thing around. I really, truly believe that. And you can definitely tell by a guy's demeanor, especially coaches, if they're going to get along with the players and going to be able to reach that same level as them and understand them as a player. I believe former players are the better head coaches. Look at D'Amico Ryans, what he's doing with Houston.
Yep. And look at all the Lions coaches, pretty much, are former players. And look at how they're playing. I mean, I think that we've said this many times, but I think that from Brad Holmes to even Sheila to Brad Holmes to Dan Campbell and the rest of the coaching staff have set up the Lions to be successful finally.
Yeah. And it starts at the ownership. When Sheila Hampton Ford first took over the team, I knew it was going to be different. Martha Ford couldn't do it. Bill Ford Jr. couldn't do it before her. And finally gave the reins over to somebody who actually wants the team to win.
And look what happened. And it was interesting in the game last night, too. If you look at, they showed that stat from the trade, okay, with the Rams. Look at the players that the Lions got from that trade. They're all top players right now on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, like all of them. Those are big, big picks. And look how successful we are right now because of that. Stafford got his Super Bowl. Now it's the Lions' turn. That's what I say.
Exactly. And, I mean, you got to give the Rams credit where credit is due. They were hot, won 7 of 8 of their last games, came into the playoffs to face the Lions. They played their hearts out in the game. They just fell short. Happened to us with Dallas. We should have won that game. And what I like the most is we didn't allow a bullshit penalty screw us in that game, because that defensive encroachment should have been called, not a false start. That was complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, that play.
You know, that could have cost us the damn game. Something like that. It's just absolutely asinine how these refs still don't get fined or some sort of repercussion for making bullshit calls like that.
Yeah, and I sent you a message like right away. Like, that's some bullshit right there. You clearly see he jumped first. He was offsides way before any of our linemen moved. Like, luckily it didn't bite us in the ass.
There's got to be some sort of accountability for these refs, especially when they're refereeing at the highest stage in the playoffs. There has to be accountability for them. That's just my opinion.
If you hold them accountable and you fine them, let's say, or something like that, they're going to be less likely to make mistakes, and they're going to pay attention a lot more to what's going on. But at the same time, there's some times in the games where there's some give or take when the receiver and the defensive back are battling it out for the ball. Could there have been interference? Possibly. But was it awesome that they let them battle it out? Yes. Like, I see that point of it too. So it's really tough because you want to see that. You want the game to be entertaining enough to not every single little thing gets called. You know what I mean? I don't want to say that in a negative way, but it's tough.
I get that. I mean, it's going to slow the game down. But I feel like the coaches should have like one challenge in their pocket where they can challenge a call if they think it's complete bullshit that they got called for something.
I like that. I like that. A challenge the referee's call. That would be amazing.
And you get one per game. That's it.
Yeah. We could have challenged the call in the Cowboys game. We could have challenged that call last night. There's plenty of times where we could have done that.
I don't know. They got to come up with some sort of system.
Steve says, find the refs. Exactly. Jason says, guys, that was absolutely a BS call. I tried to keep him positive during the game. LOL. No, it was for sure.
Same here. And I was sitting here talking about it. I'm like, what the hell are these refs doing? It's like they want us to lose, but we didn't let them beat us.
Dar says, I still say Dan Campbell just needs to put a stone cold stunner on a ref, and I think they would get the hint. Just one time. Just one time. That's all it would take. Tell you what. You don't want Dan Campbell coming at you.
You hear the, let's get ready to rumble.
Glass shatters. Dan Campbell comes out, kicks him in the gut, drops him, boom, stunner.
Taps him on the back of the shoulder, and he turns around. Surprise, bitch.
All right. Last thing for the evening. Statman, you said this one would be a tough one for you, but who is your player of the game?
Man. Player of the game. I'd have to say Badgley. I'm going to give it to the kicker. 54-yarder when you're averaging 43% beyond 50 yards, and you kick a 54-yarder to go up to keep us, up there to win the game. If we didn't hit that field goal, we could have lost. So I got to give it to him.
That was actually a big kick.
In a stressful moment like that in the playoffs, hitting a 54-yarder when you're averaging 43% from beyond 50, I give it to him.
I like it. I am going to go with, I think it has to be, for me, Jared Goff. Came in with all that on his shoulders, came in with everything going on, and showed up, played really well, led the Lions to the win. Good game for Jared Goff. Player of the game for me.
And I'm still going to say I had something to do with it, with doing my, traditional fight song in our pregame show. I mean, if it weren't for me, we probably would have lost.
It's happened. You skipped the fight song one time.
I'm going to give myself a pat on the shoulder here, pat on the back.
Dar says he's going for Hutch or McNeil. Jason says Amon-Ra St. Brown. That is a good choice as well. Facebook user says Hutch. All great picks. All great picks. So, guys, we will be back Saturday. Yeah, Saturday for our pregame show as the Lions get ready to face either the Eagles or the Bucks, which we'll find out in a few hours from now. For now, yeah. Good night, everybody.
Either way, we're going to be at Ford Field, and anybody going to the game better get loud. That's all I got to say.
Everybody have a great night. For myself and the Stat Man, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you on Saturday.
One pride, baby. Let's go, Detroit. Detroit versus everyone.